You all are taking this diabetes medicine, putting it in your stomach, and trying to lose weight. And although most of you are losing weight and looking snatched, it's one gonna come back and your stomach might explode. Now, that's a joke, but not really, because I'm not a doctor. But studies have shown that it does have it creates health issues down the line in the stomach area. So you looking good now. I was talking to my mom today, and I was talking about how like I've always been future minded, and I've always think about like what about later down the line. I've always thought of like that even as a kid. So I'll just be like what I think so many people are just so caught up in the now, they don't think about the future, whether it's things they post online, whether it's people that they may associate with, whether it's things that they may do. It's like, you don't think this is gonna come back to haunt you later? What's up, y'all? So we have expanded, all right. P.S.A. the ghostwriting solution. We got another ad here, obviously, has expanded. And now we are specialized curriculum development and reading and history for K through 12. So what does that mean? Why to choose us? So this is expertise in K through 12 education. All right. So this is custom curriculum development, curriculum length options, consultation revision, and additional resources. Also, we have a la carte options. So if in case your school for the private and public schools does not want the full shebang, guess what? You can do the a la carte options, which includes the curriculum design, the lesson plans, the multimedia content, assessments, the education guides, interactive activities, reading lists, resource compilations, and historical source collections, in case, again, you don't want the full shebang. So as always, reach out to me at PSA, thepodcast.com, or my email, theprodigyperspective@gmail.com. Hit me up. All right, y'all. What is up? Okay, so today it's another Thursday. Keeping the ball rolling with this season. I told y'all that I really want this season to be, as even though we've been doing it, I want my clips to really hit hard educationally and entertainment wise, to where you don't know where you at. I want you to be like, am I at a comedy show or am I at a TED talk? You don't know. That's how good I want this season to be. I really want it to feel that way. And today is another great episode, but it's going to be very educational, but also it's going to challenge the way you think, because I've personally been battling trolls about this kind of topic since 2020. And we all know what happened in 2020. Now, because of this episode, and with YouTube and things, and I don't want to get censored too bad, or at all, I'm going to refer to what was prescribed that we took or take in 2020 as the scene, as like scene. Okay, scene. So that's when I say that, that's what I'm referring to. Y'all right? Okay, so let me get into my meme, and might piss you off. Okay. Today's meme reads, I hope you don't bow this time if and when another sickness plagues the earth. Inspiration for this episode comes from the scene. That's how I do the look, like the kids on like them Disney shows back in the day, like Nick Jr. and stuff. They like to say it with me now. Scene, like that scene. How society refuses to stop taking those scenes and listen to holistic doctors, holistic people, or just holistic practices in general. The phrase, which I'm gonna cover as episode goes along, you used to do it. That can go in so many different arenas, but we're gonna cover that. And also, everyone's new favorite way to lose weight, Ozempic. I have a lot to say about it. All right, so you guys, let's first go into the first segment, which is me by myself doing what I'd love to do best, which is talk my stuff. And let's get into happy hour. Okay, so for today's happy hour, the first topic I'm going to talk about is Ozempic. So with Ozempic, as I refer to it on Instagram as diabetes medicine, because that's what it was for, you all are taking this diabetes medicine, putting it in your stomach, and trying to lose weight. And although most of you are losing weight and looking snatched, it's one gonna come back and your stomach might explode. Now, that's a joke, but not really, because I'm not a doctor. But studies have shown that it does have it creates health issues down the line in the stomach area. So you looking good now. You know, I was talking to my mom today, and I was talking about how like I've always been future minded, and I've always think about like what about later down the line. I've always thought of like that, even as a kid. So I'll just be like what it's I think so many people are just so caught up in the now they don't think about the future, whether it's things they post online, whether it's people that they may associate with, whether it's things that they may do. It's like you don't think this is gonna come back to haunt you later. And that's just how I feel about Ozempic. Like I said, one of my friends, because y'all know I have been losing weight or whatever. One of my friends was like, "Yeah, is he out there taking the diabetes medicine?" I said, "No, I'm not." But if I did, which I never would, I would find a way to keep it off. Because see, that's how I look at stuff, especially with diets and fads. My logic is what happens if and when it comes back. My suggestion as someone who's kept 60 pounds off for over 5 years now, you have to find something that works for you. If low carb works for you, cool. Vegetarian lifestyle works for you, vegan lifestyle. If just cutting back on a lot of different, whatever works for you, just got to find out what works. But doing those extreme diets and these extreme fads, it's just not going to work in the long run. And if I find out that you are doing Ozempic, I may not say nothing, but I'm going to give you a look. So just so you know. Just so you know, I'm not like I said, I'm not gonna tell you nothing. I'm not gonna say nothing, but I may even say, hey, check this episode out and send it to you, and then you're gonna be like, really? But you know, it's all with love, though. Like I said, and and again, and we know the target audience here is young men, right? So certain things, kind of like when I talked about the whole OnlyFans thing, I look at Ozempic kind of the same way. No one should be doing it, but I just feel like this as a man, you shouldn't be doing that. And it's so many doctors who actually tell people they should do Ozempic, and that is insane. That's crazy to me. Although I'm not a licensed professional, I know somebody gonna try to hit me with that. But if you keep doing all these things and your heart explode, then what? Now what? Okay, next topic. While we're on the topic of this episode, kind of centers around addiction a little bit, not too much with addiction, but more so drugs and abuse of drugs and substances. I have to talk about, even though it aired a few weeks ago, I have to talk about the Wendy Williams documentary. Now, I'm not going to go too much in detail, but I just have to say, it's unfortunate seeing her go out like that as somebody who now she's diagnosed with lymphedema, I believe, dementia, and something else. And we all know who Wendy Williams is. She was a radio host for dozens of years and a talk show host for gang of years. And she got real sick and she's still sick. And it's unfortunate to see how it had all turned out. Now, for those that don't know, I actually have a quick picture of her where she is now, how she looks now. And it's unfortunate because that's Black China, and she's talking to her, and that's Wendy Williams right here. That's how she looks now. And she has dementia and something else I forgot. But I do know that a lot of it has to do with drug abuse over years, substance abuse, alcoholism, things of that nature. So again, we see things that what happens when you overuse and what's what I'm looking for? Oh, we're just to use overuse things that because obviously drinking in moderation is fine. Drugs, not so much, but drinking in moderation is fine. And we see what kind of happens with the overuse of things. I'm gonna say this from the documentary. Please go watch it yourself if you haven't watched it. I have not. Yeah, I finished actually. I did finish it. It's sad to see her like that because on one hand, some people are saying they're using this as a way to show what happens when, what happens when a person's guard, because she lost the bank is holding her money. So she has a guardian over her money. And it's like they showing this show to show awareness to like whatever that all the things she's going through, which I think is not the best. I mean, I can see kind of how you could go that angle, but for me, I don't think that's the best. Seeing this lady down and out like that, who was on top for so long. But it also goes to show you once again, what did I say about Ozempic? We have to think future minded. And unfortunately, people don't think about what the things they're doing in the moment, how it's going to affect them in the future. because unfortunately, all the stuff that happened to her, not all the stuff that happened to her, but a lot of the stuff was inflicted by substance abuse for decades that you came out with. And unfortunately, people say, well, how does this tie in with the topic today of Ozempic? Well, not really Ozempic, but Ozempic and pharmaceutical drugs and all the things of that nature. A lot of these things that we take, we think is normal, is actually toxic and hurting us in the long run. And I actually have an expert for that. So today, after my long rant, I have to introduce my guest, and I'm pretty excited to do it. What's going on?
What's going on, Izzy? Dude, your podcast is awesome, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. So I see you in the office. So you got your whole setup going on. But because we're on YouTube, obviously we on everywhere, but the audio people can't see your name. So can you tell the people what's your name, where you're from, and then tell the people what it is you do?
Sure, yeah. So my name is Dr. Justin Curnutt. I'm a holistic pharmacist with a unique approach for wellness and health optimization. My background is I have a degree in microbiology and a doctorate degree in pharmacy. I've got added certifications in naturopathy, herbology, herbalism, all sorts of added nutritional training. As a millennial myself, so I appreciate what you're doing. I am a devoted husband, a father. I have 5 kids, and embracing this balance between like professional pursuit and family life, and just life in general and craziness. I was born and raised in Las Vegas, recently in Idaho, because of the scene, and that whole issue that went on down there for restrictions in Nevada was just crazy. And I essentially transitioned from pharmacy to wellness. After about 3 years in the pharmaceutical industry, I stepped away and opened up my own wellness center and help people, again, just address the root causes, right? Like stress management, weight management, nutrition management, sleep management, all sorts of those things. So when you talk about like Ozempic, like, oh man, and the scene and all that, like, boy, I'm with you. I'm essentially part of a company called Beyond Health International. It's a company that's been around for about almost 30 years, and make all sorts of things from high quality vitamins and supplements to we just added on like a skincare line to reduce toxins and things like that. And our mission is to provide our customers with not only top tier health products, but comprehensive health solutions, and that's our mission. So that's a little bit about me.
Okay, good stuff. Like I said, a lot of information. So, like I said, I like to like kind of process, like take everything you said and kind of give it back in a shorter version. So, basically, you moved from Las Vegas due to what the issue in 2020. You were in the pharmaceutical industry for 3 years and decided to leave because you basically saw it was corrupt, and you kind of saw things from behind the scene. It was kind of like, well, you know what? Let me take the information I learned with all these degrees, taking information from the man, and decide to open up my own practice. Because in reality, as I tell people all the time, you're not going to be rich off a salary job. And even though some people are destined for salary jobs and to stay in those positions, the way the world is going, you're still gonna need some other type of side job, hustle, something. So it's good that you said that. I also like how you said that you moved because of that, but also that how your focus is for families and for people to take this information and apply it as soon as they can, I would assume, because I don't want to jump ahead of myself, so let me just slow down. Now, in the realm of just vaccinations in general, particularly with the recent global focus of what happened in 2020, how do you weigh the benefits of these scenes against the argument for natural immunity and the body's ability to heal itself without pharmaceutical intervention?
Yeah. So first and foremost, I want to throw out probably debunking the myth, especially during that time frame of saying that if you don't believe in the scene, then you're anti-science. Absolutely not. The most scientific thing that anyone can do is ask more questions, right? And when you go on, somebody stands up there, right? Some doctor, we all know which one, and says, everyone wears face masks. No, everyone not wear face masks. Oh, what I say is science. It's like, no, science is always asking questions. So I personally don't believe in the yearly flu shot, for example. I don't, right now, to be honest, and this, I swear I'll get into to the other scene that we're obviously talking about. But the question is all right, follow the money. So how can you have a scene of a flu shot every year that's already pre-made, millions of them already out there, right when flu season hits, right? It's because what they're doing is they're anticipating the strain that's going to happen, the strain that's going to be most dominant. And I mean, to be honest, do you know how many times they actually nail the right strain in the year? I think it's 1 out of every 12 years they nail the right strain. So you're taking, so this is why people take flu shots and then they're like, oh man, I got sick still. Why? Like, that's crazy. I took the flu shot. And it's like, because they didn't get the right strain, they're trying to anticipate, and they suck at it. I mean, they're just horrible. And plus, so now you're injecting yourself. So everything that I was taught in pharmacy school was risk versus benefit, right? Does the risk outweigh the benefit, or does the benefit outweigh the risk? Now, if the benefit outweighs the risk, let's do it. Let's start you on some sort of medicine, right? But if the risk outweighs the benefit, which is 99% of the time, we don't take it. So with all the things that are inside the flu shots, the aluminum, the adjuvants, the right, there's thimerosal, which is mercury. Like, you're just setting your body up for toxic overload and toxins. And so now fast forward to this scene that we're all worried about. Honestly, if a scene was actually what it was intended to be, so as you probably know, Izzy, a scene in general, not just the scene we're talking about, is basically to give your body the virus in a deadened form so that our body can then clear it and build an immunity to it. Correct?
Right. Yeah.
Problem is none of the scenes that we're talking about from the past 2 years that they're pushing on everybody, it's not a real scene. It's kind of like telling your body to quit overreacting when it sees things. And that's scary because, like, we need our body to be ramped up and revved up, right? That's the whole natural immunity, right? Now, I had my wellness center. I was only in pharmacy for 3 years, stepped away, opened up a wellness center. I was doing 7 years strong into it when 2020 hit. I was teaching my clientele about this issue about a year ahead of time. And a lot of people think, so I'm just going to give your audience, hopefully just some nuggets. I hope it's on the same topic. I hope I'm not jumping ahead, but they would want you to believe that this virus is brand new, right? It's the 19, right? So when you hear the word C19, right, Izzy, I mean, I just want to get a perspective from somebody who's like on the ground floor. What do you think of when you hear C19? What does that mean to you? Does that mean it's the 19th strain? Like, what do you think of when you hear C19?
When I heard it originally, I thought it meant like because of the year that it was discovered.
Okay, cool. And that's exactly. So C19 was meant to be 2019. Now, it really came out in the United States in 2020. So a lot of people actually think it was the 19th strain. They think it's like it evolved 19 times. And like a lot of people have these weird conceptions about it. But the SARS-CoV-2 virus, which is the C19 virus, has been out since 1995. We've been doing, there's PubMed research and Medline research studies all online from dating back to 1995. So I broke it apart. I broke it down. I had 3 massive podcasts that I gave to my clientele on how to avoid it, right? All herbal based. Okay. And the number one thing, I'll give it to your clients right now, or your people, because if it comes back around, like I haven't had COVID-19. My wife got it. My family members got it. I have church members that got it. I loved on them. I didn't take the vaccine, right? And I never got it because I addressed the root cause. Okay, so a virus, especially the C19 virus, there's 12 ways that it hijacks the body and has to, right? A virus has to hijack your body in order to propagate itself, in order to keep itself going like a fax machine, right? It's got to hijack your cells and then like fax itself or copy itself, right? And there's 12 ways you can stop it. One of the best herbal vitamins you can do, it addresses 10 of the 12 steps. from attachment to binding to replication, all that things, is licorice root. I've only heard it from one other practitioner, and it's a big guy, but he only mentioned it in passing. And research is now coming out licorice root. Now, this isn't like there's a med out there called DGL, deglycerinated licorice. It's for like the gut. It's not that licorice. Go for like licorice root, like 500 milligrams. Just take one a day, like 2 a day. I don't ramp it up if people around you are having it. And I have never had it, nor have I been worried about it. So it might be part placebo, but I know that the research is solid on just licorice root alone. Like seriously. So again, the scene is and to be fair, C19 as well as the scene, okay, there's two problems with it. And this goes back to Ozempic, which I'm so happy that you're bringing these things up, because right, did you ever remember the fen diet? I mean, that was way before our day. Your mom probably remembers it. Dude, if your mom is all on Ozempic and your family members, ask them about the fen diet. This was a diet done in the 1990s. And it was like the rave. Oh, everybody do it, man. You're losing weight. You're looking good. All the celebrities are doing it. And then it came out, oh, crap. People are now having heart palpitations, heart issues, all sorts of massive brain issues and just stuff. And basically they pulled it off the market because it was horrible. But it took about 5 to 10 years for the drug companies to like make all their money. And who cares, right? Now you got heart disease. Now you're on more pills. Now you got brain issues. Now you're on more pills, right? And it was just horrible. But Ozempic, as well as most blood pressure meds, as well as C19, you have to blip that one, as well as the scene, all have one commonality. And this is also a commonality that's raising things like cancer, right? Cancer is going up in our generation like crazy. And everyone's like, well, I wonder why. Well, let me tell you why. The biggest theory and the biggest answer for all this right now is actually venoms and toxins, venoms and poisons. Okay. Venoms, toxins, and poisons, I guess, is what you could lump it into. Okay. Yeah. C19 is a bat spike protein, right? It's a venom that comes from a bat. Okay. Ozempic is actually a poison that comes from the Gila monster. Okay. A Gila monster, big old lizard, right? Most blood pressure medications originate from pit vipers. Okay. Now it's not the venom anymore. Don't get me wrong, but they took that molecule, they synthesized it. Now they can make it in a lab, but your body can't distinguish between a venom and a synthetic venom, right? And so what's happening is it's binding in the body, and your body knows it needs to get rid of it. So there's a new, and I apologize, Izzy, if I'm just rambling, but there's a new ED med coming out. Okay. So erectile dysfunction, right? And to be honest, man, we're millennials, okay? There's a phrase out there says that if you're not horny, you're not healthy. Like, that's a true phrase. And so a lot of our generation may be going towards these more erectile dysfunction meds as we get older, right, to get it up. And there's a new med coming out. It's a cream, and you slather it on, and it causes an erection, okay? It's a poison that it comes from, I think, a spider. And basically, do you know what rigor mortis is? When you get bit by something and you go like, oh, right? That's essentially so they're taking these venoms and poisons and taking advantage of the side effect. So when you get bit by a Gila monster, okay, you're not hungry. You don't think about food. Okay, this is what Ozempic is like a Gila monster venom that then causes your body, like, you don't think about food anymore, right? And it's just crazy. And then, so think of the pit viper, right? Blood pressure meds. When you get bit by a pit viper, your blood pressure slows down because they want to, right? It's like a spider. They want to eat you slowly, right? Yeah. And so your blood pressure comes down. And in erectile dysfunction, you get an erection because it's called rigor mortis. But I just freaking think, like, you're absorbing all these, and then you're having sex with somebody that's then absorbing in them. Like, oh my gosh. And then all these things are basically causing cancer. Like, it's the biggest tie to cancer at the moment is all these venoms and poisons. And it's just scary. It's scary is what it is.
It is scary. And like I said, now I didn't plan to get that deep this early, but that's fine because it's a lot of information and it's a lot of stuff we got to talk about. But in short, because this is why I was a good teacher, these people don't care about you. As I've said so many times, and y'all think I'm crazy or you think, oh, they're conspiracy theorists. But here's the thing. A lot of them be right. That's the crazy part. No one wants to accept a lot of those theories. Now, I'm not saying be obsessed with them, but in the same breath, a lot of them are right. So we're gonna get more into that as we go along. Now, I have 3 words, and I want you to tell me the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear it. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. The first word is pharmakia.
Yeah. I mean, just I think of more like so Hippocrates, who's the father of medicine, essentially coined that term, and it's essentially turned into this bastardized form of it. But what the original form of it was let food be thy medicine and let medicine be thy food. Like this is the father of all medicine that we all take an oath called the Hippocratic Oath, the Hippocrates Oath. This guy coined the term, and yet we're changing it to be this right, this form of just pharmacy that's not what it was originally intended to be.
When you hear the word holistic, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
So the first thing that I think of now, holistic is typically spelled HOS, right? Or HOL, or whatever, holistic. But it was actually WHOL, like a whole. So like holistic is addressing the whole, the root cause, the whole picture, not just your symptoms. And that's what doctors do, is symptomology, right? Oh, your head hurts, here's a pill for your head. Oh, your gut hurts, right? Your leg hurts, here's pain, right? And holistic is just addressing the root cause of it.
And the last word, which I already know, but is seen.
Yeah. Seen. Again, if I mean, we don't need them. That was that,
And we'll leave it
like,
at that. All right.
yeah.
So I went. Go ahead.
One quick thing I want to say. So being in the pharmaceutical industry, again, I got my pulse on it. When you follow the money, because that's where it always originates, you look at the drug manufacturer supply line. So you look at the drugs that they've got in their pipeline, right? What's coming out? What are they interested in? Okay. Now, there's really only like 3 or 4 big drug manufacturers of the nation. Now, out of all 4 of them, they've got the only thing, they're bone dry. They've got no ideas on future medicines, right? Very few ideas, I should say. But the biggest things in their pipeline are vaccines. They've got over 500 different vaccines that they're researching and trying to get, because this is the thing. Vaccines don't need as much research as drugs. Okay. You don't have to do phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Like you can like skip certain parts of it and get it to market quicker. Okay. 2, if they're mandated to get into school, or you're mandated for your job, like, or you're mandated every year to get one, like that's money that's printed. So like, now I'm not saying there's 500 vaccines that are coming out, but each company is researching about 100 different ones. So there's about 500 that they're all researching. But like, we already have too many vaccines, right? Like I got kids and I take them in and they're like, we need to give them this jab and 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 this jab. And I'm just like, whoa, no, like, let me, and I have, anyways, I have my own vaccination schedules and things like that. Because ideally, traditionally, I do believe in certain ones, but they have to be true vaccines, right? Like smallpox isn't around anymore, right? Like truly been obliterated. Like I appreciate that. Okay, I'm not like a not vaxxer, but I also appreciate people that have that opinion. So I'm for what you want. You know what I mean? And that's what doctors
Yeah.
should be. So
Okay. All right, so I went and got the definitions, which we'll get more into this first one as the episode goes. The first one I defined pharmakia, and this comes from, I think, gotquestions.com. It says is a Greek word that can mean use of medicine, drugs, or spells. It says can also mean poisoning or sorcery, often associated with idolatry, and we'll get into that later. Holistic, characterized by the treatment of the whole person, like you said, taking into account mental and social factors rather than just the symptoms of an illness. And obviously seen or jab, a substance used to stimulate immunity to a particular infectious disease or pathogen, typically prepared for an inactivated or weakened form of the causative agent from its constituents or products. All right, now let's go ahead and move into the next section because this is a mental health podcast, right? So we have to say, what does this have to do with mental health? Now, when you made the comment, and I didn't plan on having this conversation, but when you made the comment about how I'm off of what the person wants and how, you made the comment, you're not the anti-jab person. And one question I remember having with one of my friends. So let me ask you this. No, I'm gonna save that one. I'm gonna say the question. So I'm gonna just ask this now. So, in your experience, what are the most significant ethical dilemmas you faced in the pharmaceutical industry, and how has this influenced your current approach to wellness?
Yeah. So the reason why I stepped away from pharmacy in general was I guess the best way to explain it is with my personal experience. So I entered pharmacy, right? Pharmacy, when I got out of pharmacy school in 2012, was considered a cure, right? Medicine was the cure, okay? And I like the idea of cures, right? I like the idea of fixing things, okay? So when I got into the actual industry, uh, people came up and they said, "Here's my medications," okay? And I said, "Great, looks great," right? And then 3 years later, right, I'd see the same person. I'd say, "Hey, wow, like, man, how you doing?" And they go, "Oh, well, I'm here. It's Friday. I don't know." They say things like that, right? And I say, "Well, are you any better now than you were 3 years ago?" And they'd say, "Well, I mean, I'm not dead." And I'd say, "Well, 3 years ago you were on 3 meds. Now you're on 7 meds." I'm like, that's just, the progression doesn't seem like it's better. Now, during those 3 years, they actually changed the phraseology of medicine from cure to maintenance medications. Okay, so you're no longer on metformin, right? Say you're a diabetic, you're on metformin as a cure, but you're on it as maintenance medication. Now, I agree more with that term, because truly a cure would mean you take it, you don't need it anymore, right? But maintenance medications is you're taking it for the rest of your life. Like, now, I feel like I was the only one like raising my hand in the industry saying, why are we trying to maintain their disease, right? Like, I don't want to maintain diabetes. I want to maintain cholesterol. I want to maintain depression. Like, I want to get rid of it. And so truly, so I had a friend come up after 3 years, and they looked at my technician. They gave him, I think they had 6 prescriptions, and they said, "My life is over. Here's my meds." And I heard that, so I excused my technician, said, "Go take a break." And I typed up their medicine, was running through their insurance while I was talking to them. I said, "What do you mean your life is over?" So I was expecting to see like prescriptions that were like, chemotherapy drugs and like really crazy. I don't know what kind of drugs, right? And what it ended up being was the patient was diagnosed with diabetes. Okay. But to them, and I was asking them, I'm like, "Why is your life over?" And they're like, "Well, now I can't eat sugar." Like, and I'm like, Okay, like, what?" And they're like, "Yeah, I can't eat sugar anymore. My life's over. All the fun stuff, right? I can't go eat out with my friends." Like they just kind of went down this pathway of like, now it's a twofold problem. One, the doctor didn't educate her. Like, diabetes doesn't mean death, but also he prescribed her with 7 meds, 6 to 7 meds. I can't remember how many there were. And so here's what I did, Izzy, and this is the beginning of my downfall of the pharmaceutical industry. The big blockchain that I worked for chewed me out for this, but I did it over and over because they can't stop me. So I literally reached into my pocket, handed them $5. I said, "You go buy." So I was in a grocery store chain. Okay, I'm not gonna say which one, but I said, "You go over there, you buy your favorite Ben and Jerry's ice cream, and let's come sit down and let's chat." And they looked at me like, "Are you serious?" Like,
Trying to kill me.
and I'm like, no, seriously, dead serious. Because you're right. The mental health aspect, like, of it was like, so they went, they got their Ben and Jerry's, they sat down in my consultation room, and I counseled them for an hour and told them, "You are not going to die. You can eat sugar, but let's not take these 7 meds. Let's maybe take 1 or 2 and get you down quickly, for a few months, and then decide to get off that in entirely if we want. But let's take some better approaches to stress management, sleep management, weight management, nutrition management." And I coached her and I loved her. And I said, "Do these," right? And she walked away like, "Oh, thank you so much, Kay." So big chain pharmacy sits me down months later. It's all metric driven. And they're like, "Justin, you're awesome. Your metrics are always so high. You're pounding out medicine all over the place. You're counseling fast, blah, blah, blah. People love you." Ooh, but what happened here? Like, it looks like there was a time frame of 1 hour where you did 0. And I said, "Oh, when was that?" "Oh, that was my friend had diabetes." And I really, like, you have a customer for life, because I coached her and counseled her and loved her. And they said, "Yeah, we don't really care. We heard that she walked in with 7 meds and she only left with 1 or 2. I said, "Yeah, that's true." And they said, "Yeah, that's not your job." Like, and I said, kind of flipped him the finger, hypothetically, I didn't really do it, but I kept doing it because you can't stop me. After about 3 years, I was just so fed up. I said, peace out. I'm done. I need to help people address the root cause resolutions. And so that's kind of the evolution of what, just maintenance medications. Heck no. Like, let's get you off,
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, there's so many gems in this episode, and we only got a little over 30 minutes in.
I'm sorry.
So I'm gonna address a little bit of that, and I gotta go to the mental health facts that I researched. So you basically coached this lady off medicine. Now, she was only on 1 or 2, came in with 7, and then I only left with 1 or 2. Where is she now? Do you know?
Yeah. So she continued to follow me at my wellness center on absolutely zero. She was actually diagnosed with cancer later on. We overcame that as well. None of her kids are taking the jabs. Like, they're all crazy healthy. Like, she's doing awesome. And yeah.
Okay, so if you haven't already, which you probably do, get you a segment of where they now with your patients, and then that way you can just show the people.
Writing that down now.
No, for real. Okay, so now while he's writing that down, let me give it to y'all some how this aligns with mental health. So the first one, which he just stated, crazy, alternate cancer treatments. The mental health of cancer patients is profoundly affected by treatment choices. According to a study in the Journal of Clinical Oncology, patients who feel a sense of control over their treatment decisions report better quality of life and reduced anxiety. Then the second one is vaccinations and natural immunity. The debate impacts mental health through stress and societal pressure around health choices. Research in the American Journal of Preventive Medicine shows that public health crises like pandemics significantly increases stress and anxiety levels, underscoring the importance of informed health choices. When this, the revelation came about, the pandemic, and I remember everyone was on the phone calling saying their cousin worked for the Pentagon and that they're gonna lock us down and that crazy mess. I remember at first being scared for the first week. And then after the first week, I didn't care anymore. And then I know people were scared, for months and weeks, and still some cases still are, unfortunately, allegedly. And so many people during that time, how was my mental health? People wish death on me. They would say things like, "Oh, you're stupid, you're gonna die." And it's like, and then and this was my debate about it before I ask you your next question. People would say things like that, and they'll say like, well, I said I didn't believe in it, I don't feel the need to get it. People would say, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist, you're not a doctor, etc. I was like, but here's the thing, and this is me maybe being petty. I was like, well, if I'm not doing what y'all said I should do to live, I'm still living, I'm still thriving, no shade, I'm probably healthier than you, I'm not getting sick. So then if I'm doing I'm going against the grain and doing better than you, then maybe I'm the chosen one. Maybe that's what it is then. Maybe if that's the case, because what you're saying is I should be dead based on your logic. So I'm not dead. So then I'm not the chosen one, and everybody gets mad and change the subject. But I mean, we're going off your logic. Yeah. I should be dead, right? I'm alive.
And if you go off their logic, if they have the vaccine, they're protected. What do you care? What do you care that I'm not? You're protected. I'm not. No big. Go away. Right? It's crazy.
They don't get it.
Crazy.
So that's a great segue for my next question. So could you delve into some of the most misunderstood interactions between pharmaceutical drugs and herbal remedies? And are there anything that you find particularly alarming or promising?
So one of the biggest things, so when I health coach, okay, so people come to me all the time and they're like, hey, help, right? They're so turned off of the Western allopathic medicine model, right? And they're just like, help. Okay, so the first thing I address is this, and this is the biggest thing, the biggest concern with, so I look at their herbals and I look at their meds. I tell them to brown bag, right? They bring in all their meds, they dump them on my counter, they bring in all their herbs, right? Whatever foodie things they're doing, protein shakes, I don't care, just bring it, I dump it in, I look at it all, okay? Now, most herbs, there's really only a few herbal interactions that really matter, okay? Things like statins, so cholesterol medicine, and like grapefruit, which nobody eats grapefruit anymore, but okay, whatever, right? I look for these things, okay? So I look for the key things that could go wrong. But here's the one thing that I focus on even more, and it's something, I'll say the actual name of the condition I look at. It's called drug-induced nutrient deficiency, okay? But the easiest way to think of it is a simplified term called drug mugging. Okay. So when we take a drug in our body, say a blood pressure med, okay, it needs certain vitamins in the body in order to metabolize to the proper form. So it goes to our liver chops it up into the right form that then works for blood pressure or cholesterol or cancer or whatever. Okay. And that drug that we take mugs our body of certain nutrients. Okay, so things like blood pressure meds, they rob our body of B vitamins and magnesiums. Okay, and so as we so our body's a chemistry set. Okay, so my undergrad was microbiology. Okay, so biology, chemistry, all this sort of stuff. When people say the term, I'm getting immune to this medication. You may not have heard that, but people are like, "Hey, I used to be on this 10 milligrams of this med and it used to work great, but now my body's just getting used to it after all these years, and now my doctor has to up it to 20 milligrams. And then after a few years, my body's getting used to it, immune to it is what they'll say, and I need to up it from 20 to 40 or 40 to 80 or 80, right? Or now you're on 2 meds. Your body never gets used to anything. The only thing our body gets used to is antibiotics. And that's because of our gut bacteria. They create superbugs, but that's for a different subject. But our body is just a chemistry set. We add A, it does B, and it creates C. That's it. So if we don't have B, so if those nutrients that it's depleting are becoming depleted, then C won't occur. And then what the doctor does is they raise A, which then depletes B faster. It works for a little bit, but then C doesn't happen, and then you're having side effects of the drug. So this is people that get on a drug, and then after a year, they're on a side effect of the drug they're taking, and then they're on another drug from the side effect that drug is, and it's a vicious cycle. And so if you can address this drug-induced nutrient depletion, this drug mugging aspect, you can stay on I'm all for you taking meds if that's what you and your doctor believe. But I want you taking the lowest amount of that drug. I don't want you taking a max amount that's going to harm you. Like, if you need something, let's take the lowest amount and be right. Because there are genetic issues that we just, right? Some people just have high cholesterol, for example, and it just might be a familial thing, right? It's nothing they're eating. It's nothing they're doing. It's just, so they may need a medicine. But so that's one of the biggest like issues that I find. If we can address that, and so that's why like a multivitamin is so important. Like, take a really good don't take a $4 cheap multivite. Like, we just aren't getting the nutrition from our food anymore. And so therefore we're not getting those beautiful vitamin A's, the B's, the C's, vitamin D, especially. We're all incredibly low at, we're not going to the sun. We're all so scared. When you said you used to do it, that's what you started with. You used to do it. We used to go to the sun and not worry, but now doctors have us so scared that we're going to get cancer that nobody's getting vitamin D anymore. We're not getting it through our food. We're not getting through vitamins. And so vitamin D is the most vicious cause of brain issues, stress issues, weight issues. So before I ever took Ozempic, I checked my vitamin D levels. It is the number one thing you can do to raise your metabolism and weight. So I don't know. That's kind of an all around rant, but yeah.
No, for sure. So good stuff. The third one, when it comes to mental health, it says regulation of natural supplements. It says the FDA's less stringent regulation of supplements can lead to consumer confusion and mistrust, impacting the mental well-being of a person. A report by the National Center for Complementary and Integrative Health highlights the need for better consumer education on supplement safety and efficacy. And the last one, it says Big Pharma's role in public health policy. Skepticism towards pharmaceutical influence can deter individuals from seeking mental health treatment. According to a survey by Pew Research Center, public trust in the pharmaceutical industry is relatively low, which can affect attitudes towards medication and adherence and mental health care and engagement. All right. So good stuff. Like I said, tying in everything he's saying about, like, he's not saying don't do anything, because some people are like all or nothing. And I think it's a balance, but it's still more holistic. If I was to give a number, and I'm not, and you can correct that, I would still say try to do holistic 70-30, maybe something like that.
Yeah,
Instead
80-20,
of
90-10.
80.
It is more of a lean towards the holistic for sure. Root
Yeah,
causes.
but it's not 50-50 for sure.
It's not 50-50.
No, not at all.
No.
All right, let's move to the next section, the fun one. I challenged that. And in this section, we're going to challenge some things. So now I've got a few questions. So earlier we talked about you used to do it. And that can go in so many ways for a person, say, for instance, who used to be problematic. They're not problematic anymore, but anytime somebody gets mad, they say, well, you used to be the problem. Or if somebody who used to be fat, you used to be fat, but you're not fat anymore. You used to be a crackhead, you're not a crackhead anymore, right? So what is my take? Well, my take on the whole comment about you used to do it, when those conversations during 2020 were prevalent and people were saying, like, I'm not getting it. Well, you used to do them when you were a kid, so why not now? As my parents, well, most of my mother has said, you didn't know any better. Because I actually have a homeboy who even said, like, I'm not putting none of those in my kid, and he's fine. He's never sick. You know, of course, the little sicknesses that kids get, but he's never been just deadly ill. He's not, and some people are like, oh, we got to get our kids these 30, 40, vaccines. A family friend, they're Muslim, they never got any. So I just think that that's interesting with that. But now my question to you real quick is, what is your take on people who used to get fake SIM cards?
I mean, I mean, I had people that approached me being holistic, and they'd be like, hey, sign off on this. Like, come on, like, I'll pay you money. And I mean, so here's an example of a friend of mine. Okay. He ended up getting the scene because he went to Jamaica on a cruise. And Jamaica's a fully vaccinated island. You cannot step off the cruise ship if you're not vaccinated. So he got it because he was like, I am stepping off of the boat. But he explored every option to get a fake card because, like, we have to do things. Like, there's things in life we want to do, right? And so I don't blame people for exploring that option. It's a crazy world we live in, that's for sure. If they're
I'll say
mandating us
this.
to have these.
Right, these conversations. It's
Yeah.
interesting because I remember entertaining a thought around I think we all went out to eat one day, when me and my group of friends, and we were out eating, drinking, of course, and the conversation came up, and they were just like, I said, I'm gonna go give me one. I said, so I can go to all the same places y'all going, just making a joke, which we now see that has been overturned. You can go any and everywhere without one.
Yeah.
And I remember because I live in Texas, so we was living life. But
Yeah.
I remember that was like, well, that's stupid. Like, I feel like that's doing too much, trying to just go fake. You might as well just get it. I said, no, I'm not gonna just get it. I don't, and he was like, well, and his logic was, well, I understand people not getting it because it was made fast. But a comment I heard that I thought was so ignorant, and I want you kind of briefly touched on it, but kind of briefly ended. The comment has been made, science has advanced, so it being made quickly was not an issue because science has advanced. What's your take on that?
Yeah, no, my opinion is like, give me 2 or 3 years before I even decide to inject it, because I'm gonna let you be the guinea pigs. That
No.
sounds horrible, but it's like anything that's pushed out that fast. So this goes to another topic of Ozempic, for example. And I apologize. I know this is already going long, but
No, it's fine.
Ozempic is paying off doctors to be on boards. Okay. So the National Institutes of Health, the World Health Organization, Ozempic is paying the doctors that create the regulations and the rules for weight loss and obesity. They're paying them off, so they're slamming things through. So Ozempic is now approved for teenagers. Now Ozempic, it's written in like the paper that you get with it, the white paper essentially, that says once you're on it, you'll be on it forever. Like, don't get off of it. Like, you'll yo-yo diet, right? Which people are getting off it and they're bouncing right back to crazy levels of unhealth, more than they were prior. So it's written there, and it's understood that you'll be on it for life. So now these doctors approved it for teenagers, okay? Because our teenage population is so obese and so overweight and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, now you've got a teenager hooked on Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro, Zepbound, that's the new one. They're on these for life. You have a customer for life, and it bugs me because it's only been around for like, a year. Like, let's give it 5-6 years before we decide to give it to our kid. You know what I mean? So like, like the scene was, science isn't better. Like, again, the most scientific thing you can do is question it, right? Like, that is the scientific hypothesis right there, is always question. And so by them saying, like, don't ever question these certain doctors, and it's better, and just because Trump did it or Biden did it or whoever you believe in, like, I don't care. I don't care who did it. Like, anyways, yeah.
So I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna go to my next question with this. But I think that's interesting when you say they say never question science. I think that's kind of similar to like being a believer or a Christian. And growing up, they would our elders would say, "Well, don't question God." And here's the thing: we don't understand God's ways, right? And because His ways exceed what we believe. So, but it's interesting because if you read the Bible, the prophets question God. You know what I'm saying? So people question it. I get the logic is saying just like you should just what's the word I'm looking for? You should, maybe show reverence to these people, but
There you
it's
go.
okay to ask healthy questions. And like I said, the Bible is a great example of that.
That's a good way to say it.
So
Yeah.
now let me ask you this. So what is your take when people say, oh, well, if you're not going to take the scene and all this stuff, why are you taking aspirin? Why are you taking painkillers if that's medicine and that has toxins? What's your take on that?